make a song out of it.
Right.
Welcome
What
to
are those things called when it's
Unemployable.
the macronomes? Or what is it?
Metronomes?
Oh,
Fucking
metronomes.
metronome.
That's right. I keep you in tune, Cam.
Come on,
All right, I mean, we're rolling, right?
We're rolling.
All right, Cam, give us an intro and welcome.
Thank you guys for joining us on today's episode of Unemployable Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Javi. Thank you for joining us, man.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Javi.
Sure.
Do we ever just have a special guest? Or is everyone very...
No, today everyone's a special guest. This is a very special guest.
Cam believes in equality. He realized he said it the first episode. Therefore,
Everybody's very special.
Everybody's
That's
very
right.
special.
Very special.
I think the drinks just got here.
Yeah.
Kyla?
Nice.
I like your jacket, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's more!
Looking like a tattoo artist, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
Sponsored.
Sponsored by literally fucking everyone.
I'm excited for today's episode.
Me too.
Oh, what the fuck was he driving?
A little like scooter thing.
Vespa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw my head go.
Well, we get the ones.
He's in a Vespa club.
Hell yeah.
They go hard.
That explains the jacket.
They go hard.
Explains the jacket.
He's top tier.
Boy.
He's earned those badges.
Do we any sponsorship stuff or audio? Or no, we're good.
You mean, do we need? I mean, we have Vermont Citizen and Saniderm,
Cool.
Allegory. We're good. Unless you want to throw something in there.
No.
What black ink do you use?
Everything.
Everything? You try it all?
I'm a whore.
You said I'm a whore?
I'm a whore.
I like that.
Yeah, it's for color for sure Fusion. Fusion's always been the one I end up kind of like falling back on. Every time I've ever like dabbed in everything else, I end up just back there.
Yeah.
You know what I
Like
mean?
the
So-
powder pigment stuff?
What do you mean?
Because Fusion's powder pigment, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. That science I'm
Like
not
it-
too sure.
Yeah, Eternal's like dispersed plastic, stuff like that, like different consistencies. I like the Fusion stuff too.
Oh, that's kind of cool though. I didn't know the science behind it. I like
Yeah,
that.
Scott was the one breaking all that down to me.
Scott Jaffa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knows like about that shit.
Yeah. We've even had like guest artists travel, not in a while, but even like as recent as a couple years ago with the powder. Like
yeah?
bricks of color.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, give it up, man.
But like, what do you do? Like sprinkle it in the ink cap? Like,
Yeah, and they like mix it with like solution.
glycerin.
Yeah.
Like glycerin shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Scott was putting me on. That's why that like Electrum ink
They're like,
company.
they don't make this blue anymore.
I'm
So
like,
I
have the powder
My mentor used to do that with yellow. He used to have like a milk gallon of yellow he would make. Yeah, it's like because back then, like, I think it was like what, 15 years ago, 16 years ago. Some companies just didn't get yellow. I think only Starbright really got yellow right.
Yeah, they had the canary yellow, right?
Canary yellow, right? And yeah, he would just sit there and make his own fucking yellow, and it was a lot like golden yellow from Fusion, where it's like that really like
got an
rich,
orangey almost
little
feel
bit
to
on
it.
the orangey
Yeah.
side. Yeah, so it's like a richer yellow.
Nice yellow, yeah.
And I'm never gonna forget. Dude, I remember seeing that big ass gallon of fucking yellow. I was like, what the fuck is that?
You're like, this man's ready. He's ready for the tat apocalypse.
Yeah, dude. Which is coming with all the regulations that are happening right now on the other side of the world.
Tatacalypse.
There you go.
No, 100%, dude. Like, this shit's scary. Like, it's scary, the idea of, us not having certain colors, and which, I'm pretty sure most companies that are in the world of making color are probably already on it, and we're probably not even going to fucking do.
Yeah. We got to create a safe room at the shop. And we'll have all different machines in the wall. Like everything from coils to pens. We'll have gallons of
Yellow.
yellow. Only yellow.
Only yellow.
Everything else should be fine.
I'll put it on the list.
Danny's on it.
We'll have canned ointments,
Yeah.
ready.
Mason jars.
Mason jars, like
Speaking of ointments, Javi brought us his Skin Theory tattoo ointment.
Great segue.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Smooth. That was smooth.
So- So, I mean, tell me about this. I was asking you a little bit beforehand, but like, how long you've been creating it, where the idea came from, what's different about it?
So there was a couple videos I saw about a year and a half ago talking about using the benefits of using silicone-based ointments for tattoos and stuff like that. Silicone-based ointments aren't something new.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to like petroleum, wax,
Right.
the typical everyday kind of stuff. We're
Javi,
normally
can you
used
bring
to.
it up a little closer to?
Oh, yeah.
It moves.
You can move.
Oh, hey,
Up and down and shit.
that works. So opposed to petroleums and wax based stuff like that, the idea behind silicone based ointments isn't necessarily something new. I mean, it's been around for surgeries. It's great for surgery because of how slick it is. It doesn't allow blood to like fully dry like onto the skin, so it's really easy to kind of clean up. And obviously during surgery, it's way messier than us. I mean, it's blood fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's surgery. So like, I saw a couple of videos kind of like using the benefits or doing the benefits of using silicone on skin while tattooing. The idea of it is that when the needle goes into the skin and comes out, it creates a vacuum. The slicker the surface, the more efficient that vacuum that the saturation is in the vacuum. So hence why silicone kind of works. I mean, and it's kind of one of those kind of things that has a snowball or cascade effect. Because if every single dot is as efficient as it can be, you don't have to go over and over and over.
Gotcha.
Leading to less trauma, leading to a better heal, leading basically a snowball effect all the way down the line.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's that little prick that really means a lot.
Sure.
So it's
Yeah, I mean, you had told me that at the convention, and I was using it, and I felt like I noticed that, and I wasn't sure if it was like in my mind because you said it, or if it was
Right.
actually happening.
it's funny. I go through the same thing too. Like when I first heard about it, I started using silicone ointments.
Yeah.
'Cause there are some like on the market and stuff like that. It's nothing like in the tattoo industry like that I know of.
Yeah.
Hence why I wanted to go out and kind of make some stuff. And then what's it called? It was funny because as I was doing the research, I wasn't sure if, like you said, like if it was in my head.
Right. Right.
But everybody keeps telling me the same thing. Now I don't know if it's a kind of like a surrounding effect where like because I said it, now you're thinking about
Right.
it.
What's that called? I know, yeah. Like
It's like you
mob theory or
planted this,
whatever.
like the idea. And
Right,
it's
which
like-
I feel bad for if that's the case. But I don't think so because it seems to be so far the case with everybody, especially
Yeah.
when it comes to the healing and all that. And obviously that's super unbiased as far as the skin goes.
Yeah.
So it's like if that part's true, then it has to be true in our heads as well.
Yeah, and I've noticed a lot of companies kind of gearing their product or their sales pitch towards comfort on the skin or like healing or adding different like essential oils or you know what I mean? Like it seems like it's like moving in that direction.
Right.
Where you kind of took a different direction. You're like went for like efficiency of the tattoo.
Right, more the technical aspect.
Correct.
Because it's like whenever there's ointments that have like a lot of fragrances and stuff like that, now you're just adding more variables for the client to worry about.
Right.
And
Or
usually
things to
the
be
client has
allergic
no
to.
fucking clue either. You know what I mean? Like I can't tell you the amount of times I've tattooed somebody, use Techoderm or anything like that, and then find out they have an adhesive reaction,
Yeah.
Right.
and that we find out together.
Right.
Because they just found out right now too.
As a team.
Right. So it's like the way I see it when it comes to tattooing, especially on the application part of it, remove as many variables as humanly possible.
Yeah.
So that there
I'm
is,
so with
so
you
you
on
can
that.
narrow it the fuck down.
Yeah.
To if there is any issues. You know what I mean? Because it's like, dude, you start adding a bunch of shit to it, you don't know what the fuck happened.
No, 100%. I used to have the craziest setup, all these different things going on, whatever, and I wanted to improve my tattoo work, and I was like, I just got to shorten this, I got to make it simpler. Even to the point now, it's like, it used to be even simpler than this, but it's like 3 caps, 1 machine, maybe 1 or 2 needles.
Right.
And like, that's it.
Yeah.
So I could focus on like hand technique, ink, those kind of things. And when I had a million caps out, all these different needles, different machines, it's like I don't know what the issue is.
You don't get lost in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be this machine, this needle, this ink, this
Like, I don't
ointment.
know if it's ever happened to you, but sometimes like I'll start tattooing and it'll go great, and then I'll start fucking around before you know I forget. I forget what I did that first 20 minutes. I'm like, fuck, I try to go back to that. So yeah, no, the simplest route is always the best because you don't add more things to your head.
Right.
You know what I mean, it's like the same thing goes with tattooing. The same thing goes with like as simple as ointment.
Right.
I mean, as simple as machines, as simple as needles, all those kind of things.
Sometimes less is more.
Did
Less
you
is more.
did you read the warning label?
Yeah.
Will you-
Do we
will
want to
you
read
read
this
it?
out loud?
Yeah, read it first.
I do want to say, like,
I had a little bit
I have used like a fair amount of like other ointments now, and I do like this the best. It also did feel like different. Like I
It's
noticed the difference between it and other like major
Well, that's the silicone. That's the
yeah.
silicone.
I really like it.
It's kind of like when you tell the difference between shea butter and like Aquaphor.
Yeah, it's just like a little bit smoother.
That base of it being silicone is almost like silk.
Yeah.
So like as you're tattooing, you don't feel a drag.
Like Aquaphor is like a resistance.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. This you put on, it's almost like a hybrid between lotion and ointment. It's like some kind of weird middle ground.
I like it. It's awesome. So the warning label on this is pretty fucking cool.
Just sound it out. Do your best.
Oh boy.
Okay, wait.
Whenever
For
you're
external use only, do not ingest, keep out of reach of children. Avoid contact with eyes, do not share, because that's gross. Closed container after each use, avoid freezing unless you live in Santa's workshop. Avoid overheating unless you tattoo in hell. That's fire.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah, I do like the directions too. Did you read the directions?
Go ahead, Cam. You're doing great.
Apply a thin amount of ointment to the skin as needed for the smoothest tattooing you've ever had. This ointment is not for that rash you need. Go see a doctor for that.
Nice.
So
That's sick.
This applies to tattooers.
Just 100%. Yeah. So when I made the ointment, when they asked me like, "Oh, what do you want to write as the instructions and warning?" I'm like, I thought that's like a normal.
You're like, I can customize that.
Yeah, like I thought it was like a set thing that companies just had, and they were like, "No, dude, you can put whatever the hell you want."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Send me a template. Send me like something that people have done."
Yeah.
And I grabbed it and I just started tearing it apart.
That's cool.
What inspired you to make even a product in general like this?
COVID,
Okay.
to be honest.
Maybe
COVID.
some boredom.
Dude, that lockdown was a hell of awakening because, as most tattoo artists go, we don't really do anything other than tattooing.
Right.
And it's only when our backs are up against the wall or like our nuts are completely fucking removed that we then realize that what we got is real fucking temporary.
Yeah.
And it can be literally taken away in 2.5 seconds.
Right.
So ever since the lockdown, like even during the lockdown, I was like thinking of like products or objects and things outside of tattooing, but that's still in the industry. And then when lockdown was over and I was able to kind of talk to companies and stuff like that, that's when I started making the death grips. I began making the death grips, I think it was like right before COVID.
Was this first?
COVID stopped.
The death grips?
Yeah, the death
the
grip
little
was first.
machine holder?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Which was simple because I literally dropped my machines. Everything's all pen shaped. Everything literally just rolls right off.
Yeah.
Not meant to be used while tattooing.
Right.
Because
Quick
that's
disclosure.
fucking gross.
Yep. It's just for display.
Take it off your fucking station. You know what I mean? Like, I get some people like post pictures of it on their station, and I appreciate the shout out.
Yeah.
But fuck, that's gross.
Right.
Like, don't put your fucking used machine on there. Like, oh, it drives me fucking insane. But I try not to say anything because I try to play that Switzerland, kind of role. Try to be neutral.
You create the product, you gotta use it.
I just hope it's clean.
Right. Could be used for bad.
Yeah, but that was the first one. That one I began right before COVID began. I remember I was going to the conventions with little prototypes, and stuff like that, kind of show it off. Started getting everybody excited. Started taking pre-orders, which was a big mistake because then COVID happened, and I got super overwhelmed when it finally came. Because I originally only wanted to order like 50 of them, just to kind of give it a shot.
Yeah.
And I'm never gonna forget. I remember I put up 50; they were gone within like right away. Got pre-ordered. I hit up my manufacturer. I was like, I need to order 50 more, and they're like, all right, cool. Put it in the order. I paid what the order was, and gone. Like the next second, I was like literally like that. Bah, bah, bah. And I asked him like, dude, what's the minimum for a big order? Like what we consider a big order? It's like, minimum for a big order is 500. And I was like, fuck it, I guess let's go 500. And before COVID even fucking started, I was already tapped out of the 500.
Nice.
They're just about.
Yeah.
And then they arrived. And then it was like time to fulfill everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude, I have pictures online of like just walls of boxes.
And you said they were breaking.
They were breaking in the beginning. Yeah, because the box originally that they came in was too tight. And it's like, and you know how UPS is and couriers and stuff like that, dude. They don't give a shit.
If it says fragile, it means
fucking soccer.
If it says fragile, they like get tempted to kick it more.
They use it as a soccer ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, dude, it was such a headache. But you know what I mean? Anytime anybody hit me up, I always send them another one. You know until we eventually got it right. And we eventually did. Now, so far, so good. We haven't had any emails breakage.
So how long has this been out?
Oh, shoot.
2 years?
Well, 2020 is when COVID began? Yeah, about 2.5.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, every time we run out, it's a bit of a process to get more.
Yeah.
But then once we get more, it's like a nice little jolt.
Go through all the channels, send the pigeons out. Yeah.
Usual.
And then this was the second product? The
That
Skin
was my
Theory
second
ointment?
product. Yes.
And you're like, all right, I got some experience doing products for
That
filament.
one's been harder. That one's been harder to sell.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
Because tattoo artists are stubborn
Well, and you're competing.
with a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Def Grape, I'm not competing with anybody.
Right.
I'm competing
Yeah.
with like shit that you find on Amazon.
Right, like
It's
almost
very-
like
it's original.
figurines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
figurines. They're
Right.
more like art pieces than anything
Collectibles.
else. So that was super duper easy. Like the next one I'm coming out with, I'm pretty sure will be a little bit easy too.
Yeah.
But the ointment, though, like you said, because of all the other competitors, people are already used to their other ones. It is different because it's silicone.
Right.
You have to work with it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Like I've had some guys where like they'll be like, oh, the stencil gets removed when I use it, and then when I see them tattooing, they're one of those that like to like put ointment on the entire stencil.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Like, that's
very
why.
slick.
Yeah.
So it will kind of lift it up, which I personally like because I don't like having my stencil on the entire time.
I don't either. I can't see my lines.
Right. Yeah. Like nothing's worse than when the stencil's literally stuck.
Right.
Because then you can't take a picture of it. You gotta wait until the fucking thing
Yeah,
heals
or you gotta
whatever
like
fuck you
hit
do.
them with sandpaper, and
Or
you're like,
fucking alcohol.
yeah, let's do.
Give me a little bit.
Tattoo's
a
about
little
to
bit
get
fun.
drunk, boy.
You know what's funny? So interesting fact. I love experimenting. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
experimenting with tattooing and everything
Sure.
like that. So you know how Florida's super duper humid?
Yeah.
You know, if you're really oily, if you put on too much ointment, you get a moisture rash, you
Right.
over secrete, stuff like that. I ended up finding out that I have some clients that are really, really oily. What works best for them is to clean it with alcohol.
Okay.
It dries them out, and then the humidity in the air is enough to moisturize them back down.
Gotcha.
Yeah, interesting. The most interesting thing ever.
Right.
It is so much fun when we're done tattooing.
This is a
and I'm looking at
Florida
it, I'm like, wow.
tattoo secret. Don't try this in Maine.
Right, exactly. Like, dude, it's so much fun with some of those clients. Like, we'll be done tattooing, and I'll be like, well, dude, it's time to clean it.
Yeah.
That's like Nate. Nate does the alcohol at the end.
You know what I get all the fucking time in Florida is people like come in to get tattooed and they're sunburned.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
That's such a mistake.
Like they'll fly in from somewhere or whatever. They don't know how this place works, and they get in a day early. They go to the beach and they're red.
Yeah. Well, they're like, I can't get it after my tattoos.
I'm
So
like, yo, are you?
Yep.
well, they feel like they can't go to the beach after,
prioritize.
so they squeeze it in.
They prioritize.
They prioritize, and apparently we're on the bottom of the list.
Right,
So-
right. We're the second day.
Phil called one of his clients out for it. He goes, listen, it looks like you get sun fucked. So let's just stay away from it. But she had that seal skin. He goes, bro, you got to say it.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
goes, and I kind of know her. So
No, you know what's
I might
funny
say
though is
sun
that
fucked.
if you tattoo that type of like when it's really sunburned like that, that skin is already damaged.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
gonna drop it all.
Right.
So literally, like because I've done it before, where like I looked at the client, I'm like, well, you fucking flew in, let's fucking go to town.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's incredibly fucking painful because they're completely
Right.
damaged, and because it's already pre-damaged, dude, when it heals, the body spits it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They literally leave with like a mark,
Right.
of some random shit.
Yeah.
No, it's insane. Yeah, and it sucks when that happens because
Yeah.
obviously it's their flight, their hotel, yada yada.
Yeah.
But
They did it to themselves.
yeah, kind of.
Well, hope that tan was worth it.
Your temporary tan.
No, but,
They're all tourists, mostly tourists, and they're smart about getting it at the end of the vacation, but
Right.
you're burnt.
Yeah.
So, with something like this, because I think you brought up a good point. A lot of tattooers really just kind of stick with tattoos.
right.
Maybe they'll get a little more involved with conventions, prints, pins, like little stuff,
Clothes.
clothes, but like nothing to rely on. And I think
Right.
something that I'll think about, and other tattooers sometimes might think about, is doing a product or some kind of secondary form of income or business that you maybe could rely on later in life.
Right.
I mean, was that a factor in creating
100%.
something?
Like I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like, and I won't be able to tattoo forever.
Right.
I mean, I already feel it now, dude. It's been like 15 years.
Right.
And dude, it's like if I get in the wrong position with my back,
Yeah.
I have to reschedule my appointment the next day.
Even sleeping.
Dude, everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So it's like tattooing is not forever.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's for the young. And like Cam, you're good now.
Yeah, you're
You know what I mean?
fine.
It's like
You don't even have to listen to this conversation.
No, let me tell you, 10, 15 years into it, dude, it starts to suck ass. Like it starts to physically hurt. You know what I mean, to the point where you do get sick. You know what I mean, if you overwork yourself. Like I always make sure whenever I do like 2 or 3 days back to back that I take a bit of time off.
Yeah.
Because it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal to the body. So because of that, I mean, we don't have retirement like that. I mean, like sure, some of us, you know, do if like some of us that have our businesses and we do pay our taxes correctly and do a 401k and the whole thing, sure, but we know how it is. Florida, especially in Florida, it's expensive as shit. 401k and Social Security and all that kind of shit really won't cover a lot. So in the tattoo industry, we kind of have to find ways to kind of make things be, whether it be opening up our own studio, whether it be, you know, the products, whatever it might be. It's good to have something else. You know, don't rely just on tattooing. And it's really easy to rely just on tattooing because tattooing itself makes a lot of money.
And it's fun.
So it's like, you know, you kind of think, like, dude, before COVID, I was like, oh, why the fuck would I do anything else? I'm making a shit ton of money tattooing the whole thing. I don't really need to do anything else. But when it gets taken away from you,
see, I didn't.
Gets tight.
I didn't have to really. Like, I know that was like a huge deal for you guys because I didn't really get into the industry until after that.
Right.
So. Yeah. Kim's never made money in his life. He has no idea what you're talking about. So yeah, because this is cool, and I'll think about products and doing stuff like that, and especially if it's a product you can use in tattooing, I could see situations where it would be fun. I know it comes with all kinds of stress.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's like, okay, cool. Like I have a product, and like you're saying, experimenting, testing it,
right,
and it, you know, working hand in hand with the business you already have going,
right.
And you said you might plan on doing more products?
Yeah. Like I would love to do like a sunblock just because we live in Florida.
Yeah.
Like that works cool. Great.
Right.
I just want to make sure that whatever I do create, ideally, hopefully it's not already around too much.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's something at least a little bit unique.
Yeah.
I mean, to the industry.
Yeah, we've seen the same things done over and over and over
CBD
again.
this and the fragrance that, and it's like it's always the same shit.
Right, and a million different ink caps, you know, a million different inks, forms of setup, different color, you know.
The idea is to figure out what problems there are, and then find the solutions for them.
Yeah,
you know, I mean that's the goal. If you start trying to copy a bunch of shit, then you're just gonna be doing that. You're just gonna be copying a bunch of shit, and then I wish you luck trying to get out, because then at that point you're relying so heavily on everyone else to like push you through because your product doesn't push you through.
Right.
Because
like I hope they come up with another idea so I can copy it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, you know, but if you end up kind of like finding or like creating some sort of solution to problems, then in that sense, you can then begin to have the product carry itself.
Right.
I mean, like I know for sure, like once I get this in enough hands, it'll carry itself. It's just a matter of getting it in those hands.
Yeah. Which you were, it seems to be doing a great job hitting the conventions, handing it out, and like talking to people about it. But even before all that, and maybe for people that are thinking like, hey, you know, I'd like to create a product or come up with a second form of income, or even just to add something to the industry. I mean, where do you start? Like this is, you started with the death grip, and how did you decide like I'm gonna do this?
Looking your day to day,
right?
Looking your every day to day and what problems you have. You mean like the one problem, like with the death grip, for example, the one problem I had was whenever I put my machine down, it would always roll.
Right.
And I had a couple of times where they would roll off the table because I would have, before I didn't have a tray, I used to have like a stainless steel slab that essentially came out of the wall. So there was no lip.
No lip.
So, dude, I can't tell you the amount of like machines that would just roll right off and just fall straight to the ground. And then that's when I started getting the idea. I'm like, fuck.
That's
dude,
when
like,
everyone in the shop's like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, dude, when you hear it. And
that clunk is so loud.
Especially if an apprentice did it.
It's like multiplied.
There's a specific clunk that you can hear things get loose in that clunk where it has like a reverberation and you're like, no.
Like it drops, hits again, and you hear
and
some
these things
shit
aren't cheap.
No, and they're so fragile.
They're fragile as shit. You mean fucking do sometimes whenever you go on conventions, if you put it in the wrong fucking overhead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's enough. Enough turbulence.
I had mine in a Pelican case with like 6 inches of padding around all of it.
And it can still fucking break.
It's still sketchy.
You mean nowadays, you know, the machines are very fucking engineered. I mean, they're not like coils like they were back in the day. You could fucking drop them all goddamn day, and all right, cool. The fucking spring will bend, and you fucking just bend that bitch back.
Yeah,
you kind of, if anything, it makes it better now.
Yeah, it's stronger.
Right. It's now tuned.
Yeah. It's like a Nokia phone.
What are you doing? I'm tuning my machine.
But nowadays, dude, no, man, these things get a bump too hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And things get dislodged. So it's like, I mean, so when it comes to trying to figure out a product or whatever the case is, literally look at your day-to-day life and where you have problems that there really isn't like a solution for.
Like almost like make it personal, something like you like and you would use.
Right, because if you don't use it or you wouldn't use it, what the fuck's the point? Because this shit's expensive to fucking do. It ain't cheap.
Yeah, you want something that you enjoy.
Yeah, so you want to make sure at least you use it. Like when I made my ointment, I wanted a silicone ointment. Yeah. So when I made it and it was so in the beginning, I didn't give a shit. I'm fucking just using my own ointment. Right. Dude, I was going nuts. Fucking just like going through my own face. Yeah, I was. Oh, dude,
fucking tongue depressor. He's using a spoon.
But that's the point. The point is to make something that at least you will use and at least will solve some problem in your day to day. And if it solves a problem in your day to day, you might then find out that there's problems in everybody else's day to day that solves. You know what I mean? So that's why I say that the easiest thing to do is look within. Look within yourself and within your day, and you'll end up finding your product.
So like with the death grip, the idea, I guess, then was, hey, I want something to hold my machines, right?
Right. Like whenever I'm done tattooing and I want to put my machine down so it doesn't roll. Like, because usually what I'll do is I'll put it down and just turn away. And in that turning away is where it goes to die. Yeah. So it was more of like, I want something to put it down. And I didn't want like, just like a stand. Because there are plenty of those like everyday little like, poker things like on Amazon.
They're like poker chip holders.
Kind of, which is okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I wanted something that fits my aesthetic too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I have a bunch of fucking skulls everywhere. So it's like, I wanted something that kind of fit the vibe.
Yeah, you captured it. It looks cool as shit.
It was
if
fun.
I saw that on somebody's station, I'm like, yo, that's
I'm excited.
Sick.
I'm excited for the next version because the next version is going to be the one problem I found out. Well, the one problem I made for myself within finding a solution is that I figured out I barely have desk space. So I can't even really use my own product. So the next one I'm coming out is actually a wall unit version of that.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that one I'm excited for. Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
It's literally the same thing, but it's like positioned like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like coming out of the wall. That's and it's instead of it being a teardrop kind of base, it's a coffin.
Oh, very cool.
So literally, it's like all your old machines are in drawers to die. Mm-hmm. They go to
you can kind of now like get a bunch of them and display them.
Is this 3D printed?
It did start off 3D printed. So basically, I 3D printed it and they kind of shipped it off to the manufacturer.
And then made a mold.
And then they made the mold off of it.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then like for once you have the idea and the concept, I mean, how do you go about finding companies to?
Well, I know how to 3D model.
Right.
So that was a big help.
Yeah.
That one, I started using ZBrush, I think it was like 6 years ago. And to be honest, dude, if any artist kind of feels bored or wants to try something new, picking up 3D modeling, not only is it good for coming up with like unique designs that haven't been tattooed somewhere else, whatever the case is, but it also helps with creating products. You know what I mean? Like I can make my own thing. And because I have a 3D printer, I can 3D print my own thing.
And you can kind of get a quick idea in hand.
I can see if it works. Like, dude, I think I 3D printed, I think it was like 10 or 15 of these until I got the size just right. And then it was funny because then right when I came out with the product, like we were talking about earlier, then came out the Exo Grip, which is fucking huge and fat. I was like, fuck.
I mean, what was that like though? Like you just 3D printed this and you're like, I'm going to see if the machine fits. And you're like, oh my God.
I did it.
Right. Just like that. Exactly like that.
It. You're like, I did it.
Right. Because let me tell you, it was like 10 of those that wouldn't fit. Yeah. Like either the thumb was a little bit too tight or like the index was bent too far. Oh, dude, it was a nightmare. And then mind you, 3D printing is slow.
It takes like a day for each of them to print about.
And I had one of those like resin printers, so it's like 15 hours to print one of them out. And I got to print the base too. Yeah. So it's like fucking 8 hours for the hand and 10 hours for the fucking base. So it's like, oh, dude, I was like, oh my God. And then you get failed prints because sometimes it's like, it doesn't like the way it's coming and it literally fails. And mind you, it's literally overnight. Yeah. So you'll come into the shop the next day and be like,
it's not even done.
Yeah.
It's
like uploading porn in the 90s, dude.
Oh, yeah. No, that's when you use
What's this?
Like, I came out fucked up.
Yeah, you're like, I think that'll work. It's a strong hand.
Yeah. All you need is the first 2 seconds of the download.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's right.
Just put it on repeat.
So that had to be a great feeling. And then it's like, all right, now I have to bring this to the public. I have to mass produce it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thankfully, like I said, that one's a more unique kind of, it's more of an art piece. So that one wasn't too hard to get out there.
But then I'll see Skin Theory and I'll be like, well, how do you even come up with a formula? How do you even get curious to look at silicone in the beginning?
That's where working with a company works.
Yeah.
Helps out. Yeah. Because the company I work with is called Cosmetic Solutions.
Yeah.
And they really do kind of sit with you and tell you the science behind what you're trying to do.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's you're not super blind and trying to
well, it helps with safety, I'm sure, as well, right?
Exactly.
They're like, let's not kill everyone.
Right, yeah. So it's all FDA approved and that kind of thing and regulated.
Yeah.
So it's and that's the best part about going, even though it is more expensive to go through a company like that, at the end of the day, it's safer.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately kind of what the point is. It's an interesting process. It's eye opening. I mean, especially when you especially once you go through it, you kind of walk through Walgreens a little differently.
Yeah.
Now you know how
the
things
processes behind all these products.
You're like, I remember when I was a consumer.
I just pictured you in the kitchen, a trap house and shit.
Right. Oh no, and I've heard stories. I would read online. That's how a lot of it is. It's you're just in the kitchen, he's cooking shit up. I'm like, nah.
Dude, I did that for years.
Yeah, okay. You weren't making ointment.
No, I was. Well, not all the time, but dude, because I was making aftercare forever, and my girlfriend at the time hated me because I damaged the whole kitchen.
Oh, 100%.
With different beeswax and cocoa
It's
butter,
candles and shit.
Yeah. Oh, it was terrible. And then I found a final product, and I realized what it cost me to make and use all this natural products. It was just cheaper to buy one that was already made.
Right.
This is pointless.
Well, that's where bulk comes in.
Yeah.
I mean, which bulk also comes in with price, but at the end of the day, that's kind of part of the math.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to kind of put in. But yeah, no, if you were doing it individually by hand, oh, dude.
That's what I was doing, making hundreds. But what it did was it got me really familiar with every product used in aftercare, and I'm grateful for that. Wow, this shirt is actually really nice. If you haven't already, you need to check out themodelcitizenapparel.com. It has the best tattoo clothing I've ever seen. And I'm quite a critic when it comes to fashion, clothing, whatever. The design has to be cool and the material has to be comfortable, at least form-fitting. They have a range of styles from vintage to modern. They're continuing to work with new artists featuring new designs and articles of clothing. You need to check out this company, themodelcitizenapparel.com, or you can check out their social media, which is Model Citizen Apparel. It's the best. Responses.
It was tough because it's a lot of pushback.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
a lot
sure.
of what is that? I already use this.
Right.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that. So now the cool part is, so what I started doing was basically just from the conventions, going literally from booth to booth, and artists I like, giving them to try and stuff like that. It does help that. It's because I've been doing this for so long. I know a lot of people, a lot of friends, in the industry.
Sure.
That
it's a familiar person giving it to
a familiar person, right? So it's easy to kind of be like, hey, dude, I just came up with this. And because they know who I am and this and that, they know I'm not some Joe Schmo off the street. They know that I at least love what I do. And they at least kind of give me the try because of that, which is a massive help. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I could only imagine if Joe Schmo was trying to walk to the convention to pass out their ointment. Yeah. Even if it was far more superior or whatever the case is. Yeah. It would be far harder for them. Type of thing. It's definitely.
They probably never go to a convention again.
They probably never would. Yeah, 100%. So that's kind of how it is. It's essentially giving a lot of it away. And it's the first batch is always going to be. Essentially almost thrown away in a sense because it's literally just trying to get out to people to try. Yeah, and once everybody tries it enough, because then here's the tough part. So the tough part is because the goal is to try to get it in distributors' hands. Right. Because you get into distributors' hands, they're the ones that buy the massive bulks to the point where you can start buying bigger bulks. Mm-hmm. Right. The bigger bulk you can buy, the cheaper it is for you.
Yeah, your margins go down.
Your margins go down, and then you can lower the margins for everyone else. The hard part is distributors look at your new product and treat you the exact same way. Yeah. They go, who the fuck are you? Yeah. So then, it's literally you got to start from the ground up. You got to work with artists. You got to kind of get that notoriety with the product. Because at that point, sure, your name helps, but now your product is nameless. Yeah. And it needs to get some kind of ground.
Yeah, you need the artist begging this up.
Exactly. Exactly. They need to see that it's being used, that there is a demand.
You also need good packaging. Didn't you guys
Yeah.
get, I won't say it. Didn't you guys get like an aftercare thing and then it looks like it came in a Sunny Delight? Like
Yeah,
bottles,
I've
like-
seen some pretty bad packaging.
It could be fire, but this shit looks terrible.
It's like, and you holding it, and you're like, an artist made this.
Yo, like green soap that looked like canned chicken noodle soup and stuff. It just was bad. Some of the stuff I saw.
Second, it's broth.
No, see, I'm a packaging whore. I love packaging.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, like whenever I get, like, I'll keep boxes.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
Like
me
at the
too.
house,
I
just
fucking
because
do
it's
So I
sexy.
like buy a machine. It's like very nicely packaged. I'm like, I'm not throwing this
Dude,
away.
it's so hard. Like, dude, I have a bunch of like sideshow collectible stuff.
Yeah.
That it's like I shouldn't keep the boxes. I ain't getting rid of my fucking. I ain't getting rid of my toy.
Dude, I get like a like a
Like,
vinyl
dude.
figure, and it comes in like I don't even take the figure out the box because the box is so
It's
cool.
awesome, right? Yeah. So it's man, and like whenever you see the packages are like the UV coated on one part, but like matte on the other. Oh, that hits the spot.
Yeah, like gloss finish on some parts, a little bit of raised texture, like stuff like that just
dude,
changes
it's
it
the
up.
best.
Yeah.
And then when you see like awkwardly shaped ones,
Like a hexagon box, you're like, what?
I'm a packaging connoisseur.
Yeah, I like freak about like if I get a pair of sneakers and it's got like a one-off box instead of like the average box.
Oh, dude,
I'm like, that's
it
sick.
took everything out of me to like do a basic rectangular box
Yeah.
for the because like my wife was like, "Baby, don't spend the extra money on it. It's gonna kill our
Yeah,
margin."
like a coffin
Well, thank
box
God
would be
you
like
didn't,
$6.
right?
Oh no, thank God, right? Because then they're not working out. But let me tell you though, man, it is so hard to not do like a like I wanted to do a box for this, like individual boxes and the whole thing. And my wife was like, "Baby, we're gonna have to sell it for $30-$40.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Fuck, no one's gonna buy it for $30-$40.
Yeah. What do you sell these for?
The difference is sell it for 50.
50?
Yeah.
And then what about this?
Those guys sell right now for 20. Normally they're 25.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
really
try
good
not to go past that. I try to,
Yeah.
because the idea also too when you make a product is you gotta be competitive.
Yeah.
You can't be super expensive, but you can't be super cheap either. You gotta try to like, you don't want to, because at the same time too, you don't want to rub elbows the wrong way either. You know, because at the end of the day, the way I see it personally, the industry should be a cohabitation, more than anything else. It shouldn't be like a monopoly of like one main company.
Yeah.
It should be that whole free market kind of concept. So you definitely don't want to like rub elbows the wrong way. Kind of respect the ones that came behind you, even though you're essentially in a weird way trying to take money away from them.
Yeah.
But you also got to respect them as well.
Right.
doing
It's
the
almost
same-
like we'll play by the same rules.
Play by the same rules, exactly. Yeah.
You're doing the same thing as them, just trying to sell a product.
Right. Yeah. And the way I see it is too, like I gear mine more towards application, and a lot of other ones gear more towards healing.
Yeah.
So it's like the way I see it is, I'm like, no, you guys have that market.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
And it's not like you're like coming in just trying to steal the market either, because like you're a tattoo artist yourself. Like you're already a part of it. You're just getting more involved, from what I see.
Right, exactly. That's the idea.
Yep.
The idea is because for the most part, tattoo industry has kind of remained the same for a very, very long time, which I think is a positive in some degree. So you have to kind of respect that as well. And I think as long as we respect it and try to change it and improve it wherever it may be, but so long as we give it the respect it deserves, usually everything kind of works out.
Fuck yeah.
Well, I love this product. I use it. Cam's right. It feels great.
Yeah.
I mean, as I told you at the convention, it doesn't taste great. So, but there's always room for improvement.
Cam thought it was hair gel, so
Well, you know what's funny? Silicone is actually really good for your hair. So
You should have told me
You
that.
should rub it on your face.
I can't test it.
beard oil?
I can't test it, so I can't tell you.
Use it on our beards.
But I really wanted to talk about, because we talked about this convention as well, the AI.
Yes.
Yeah.
AI.
That stuff is cool.
Because not only have I seen you involved in the products, but I've seen you get involved with the NFTs and been, a big voice of AI art.
Right, yes. There's a lot of fear, obviously, revolving around it. Definitely should not be put lightly. People are fucked in some aspects. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of industries. Like, with most, whenever robots come in, stuff like that, like in the farming industry and stuff like that, a lot of jobs do get displaced massively. There is no difference in the AI art world, which I feel bad for. I feel sorry for graphic designers, for, artists of all kinds that rely heavily on their art to support their families and all that. But AI is pretty fucking awesome.
That being said, you guys are fucked because the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah. The cat's completely out of the bag. It's Pandora's box. It has been opened. That shit is not closing. Like, no, and the powers that will are not going to let this go away.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the idea there is, do you move forward and use it as a tool the same way we use Procreate, the same way we use Photoshop, the same way we use ZBrush, the same way we use machines? Or do we try to fight it for whatever fuck reason, for whatever high horse we want to stand on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That we're going to end up eventually getting shot from.
Right.
That's essentially what's going to happen.
Right.
You mean, look at, go back in time, look at photographers. When photography first came in, when they used to do paintings of portraits. That if you wanted a portrait of yourself done, you had to go to an artist and sit there and get your portrait painted.
Forever.
When photography came around, those artists was like, oh, that's not art. All you do is click a button.
Way better picture.
Right. It's a way better picture. It's way more accurate. It's a lot faster. It's a lot more efficient. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with every single industry as time goes on. When digital cameras came out, old school photographers were saying that's not photography.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is clicking a picture. You're not in the dark room. Da 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 da. You know what I mean? It's really funny how we have these kind of like dinosaur kind of folks that's prehistoric that they do not want to leave the fucking tar pit.
Well, it's kind of like coil versus rotary.
It's like,
well, it's just like people like staying, like not wanting to switch, like not trying to see the pros of it.
Maybe like switching to the iPad from like manual.
Right. Yeah, because coil machines it's a little weird. So, because with coils, coils are awesome. Like I can't pull a line with a rotary like I could do with a coil.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, like I have an Aaron Kane that shit fucking still beats every machine I've ever tried. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to like smooth, like with a 9-liner, the creamiest fucking line that thing could pull. I can never do that shit with a rotary. Now it's probably because I suck. It's probably why. I see motherfuckers pull great fucking lines out of rotaries. So it's a little weird when it comes to the argument of rotary versus coil, because there are certain aspects. But when it comes to art as tools and like new innovations and stuff like that, that part is a little silly. Yeah. Because it's like you're essentially kind of going on a hill to die. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, why?
I like your comparison to the portrait artist a lot. Because I could see Cam being like 100 years old and someone grabs his arm and they're like, is that a manual tattoo? And they're like, you sat there for hours for someone to tattoo you when we can just click a button? You know?
Which is probably going to happen.
Yeah, because I'll look at those old portraits that were painted and I'm like amazed. I'm like, wow. Like now, the time and effort.
Because now grab onto that thought you just had.
Yeah.
That's why you shouldn't be scared of AI either.
Yeah, correct.
Because the same way you get that same feeling from...
Because you get that feeling, right?
Oh, 100%.
Like, oh my God,
like,
this person...
Don't get me wrong, AI can do some incredible shit in seconds.
Right.
But there's something about something that's manually done that took hours and took pain to create that you can see the soul in it. You mean, it's beautiful. I mean, you look at those old school paintings, those Renaissance paintings, you're like, dude, like that. I know that doesn't look like the person. I'm pretty sure that artist didn't fully capture them like a camera can. But there's soul there.
Yeah.
You know
time, effort, blood, sweat. And even in the client for sitting there, you know, it's like this thing you do together.
Yeah, it's pain.
Right.
You're essentially shedding pain to create something beautiful. It's amazing. You know what I mean? So it's like with AI, it's the same concept.
Right. And now it's like, boop, done.
Right. Super. And what the one thing I love about AI is that when you look at it from a business aspect, you know, forget the ethical stuff for now. When you look at it from a business aspect, if you have your clients and stuff like that, you know, we have like sometimes we have those undecisive clients. Well, now we can really quickly concept stuff, whatever intrusive thought is in their mind of like how they might want their design. Because, you know, sometimes they have their ideas are like, dude, that's not going to fucking work.
Right. I want my turtle to look more stoic. It's
right.
Like, all right, hold on.
Right, exactly.
Stoic turtle.
And you can do that. Like I've had sit downs with clients where like literally we'll sit down together and just be there on Midjourney. He's cool. All right, cool. You like that? No? Okay.
Yeah.
How about that? You like that? No? I use that. And it's so freaking cool because now, you mean, when you look at it, we don't have to go on Pinterest anymore to grab the same fucking thing that's already been tattooed a million fucking times. We can literally sit there and create brand new concepts in seconds. Now, doesn't mean that the analogness of it goes away, because now you have the idea. Now you could tattoo just like that, like some of those are just ready to go.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, if you're an adequate enough artist, you can tattoo whatever the fuck comes out of that.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing, and be ready to rock and roll. But it is a lot of fun to kind of grab that and then build upon that.
Yeah.
I mean, and literally use it as a tool. Now, when we talk about the ethicalness of it, that's where it gets a little weird.
Yeah, because you don't know where the AI is getting the art from.
Oh, you know.
Well, yeah.
You know exactly where. It's taking it from the artist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how it's trained. I mean, it's trained with literally everything that's on the internet. And that's, a lot of it's without consent. And that's where it gets a little weird.
But isn't that what we're doing too?
We're doing that too.
I was about to say.
See, the tattoo artists are a little funny because you have tattoo artists that fight against AI, and it's like, dude, you do the same shit.
Even if it's not
AI
intentional.
is a lot better.
Even if it's not intentional, right? Because you're drawing from what you've seen and what's stored consciously, unconsciously.
Well, that still makes it unique, though. But if we look at kind of like what we do with like Pinterest and Google and stuff like that, it's the same fucking thing that AI does.
Yeah.
It's just we're jealous that fucking AI does it better than we do.
And faster.
And faster. And way more. Everything about it is better than us. You know
Except the fingers. No,
for now.
And
teeth. And
Teeth
yeah,
are-
teeth are a little weird.
Yeah, they're giving people like 12
like
teeth.
shark teeth, like layers.
Yeah,
and shit.
it's weird.
Which personally I like.
I like it too
the horror
because
shit.
that's where like the artist comes in, where it's like you have to take that and now make it right.
You have your
know?
idea now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so like I've seen some graphic designers actually not be scared of AI and actually use AI. And what they'll do is they'll quickly like kind of conjure shit together. It's because it's almost like magic. I mean, so they'll literally just put shit together really quick for their clients. They'll like it and then refine it and then make it their own. Because at the end of the day, it's weird because sure, AI does essentially get trained by a lot of different art, but even though it's still not using it to the T, like how we normally as tattoo artists use it to the T. Like I'll grab like a painting of like Frank Frazetta and use literally the torso of a dude.
Right.
And that's fucking Frank Frazetta's torso.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even if you type in Frank Frazetta's name into Midjourney, at the end of the day, it's still going to randomize all of it. Like it's still not to the T. It's grabbing maybe the visual style,
right?
Which if we're looking at visual style, who technically owns visual style? Because it's all kind of like evolved through what we see from the past. Because humans aren't original. Right. We try to pretend we are. We're not. We grab our ideas from one place, from another place, from the clouds, from the fucking trees. We observe around us, and then we create from what we observe. So we're not 100% original. Maybe some concepts, but we essentially do grab it from our own life experiences as time goes on. And then when it comes to the AI, it's kind of essentially no different. It's essentially it's ripping it apart from a bunch of stuff. So it's like, who's to say that something that a graphic designer kind of like conjures and puts together and then refines isn't theirs? You know what I mean?
When we got back from the convention, you brought up a topic. Do you remember about AI?
Yeah.
What was it?
How do you feel about like AI possibly taking over the tattoo aspect of it?
Like, what happened?
Eventually, yeah. I believe so.
And
I mean, it'll take over everything.
A lot sooner than we want.
Like, we'll just become operators?
We'll become operators. We'll become technicians.
Right.
We'll become technicians and engineers. And it was funny. I was listening to actually a podcast from Neil deGrasse. He had a very interesting outlook on it that I really enjoyed. They asked him, like, hey, what are you going to do when AI can do everything you can do? And he says, go to the beach. You know what I mean? Like,
get sunburned.
Get sunburned. Enjoy life. You know what I mean? Without work.
Yeah, dude. When those selfies were coming out and everyone's doing those AI selfies and all that shit, almost every artist I followed immediately did a fucking post where it's like, not real art, fuck AI. It was like
right.
It was like a whole little.
Now watch what's going to happen though. So you're going to have because I remember I saw this. I saw the same thing because I started learning. I learned how to use Photoshop when I was 11 years old. Like literally right when Xbox came out, I was obsessed with like 3D and like digital stuff and all that. And I remember I asked my dad like for a 3D program and they got me Photoshop. Cool. And I just started tinkering.
Yeah.
And ever since then, like my dad told me something I swear to God I've carried it throughout my entire life. Because I remember when I downloaded it, it was confusing as shit. I opened it, I was like, what the fuck am I looking at, Dad? I was like, Dad, did it come with an instruction manual? And he looked at me and he told me, fuck with it, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I've used that fucking thought process to everything I do. And same thing goes with 3D modeling, all that stuff. Well, the funny part is because I started with Photoshop before Procreate, before Photoshop was even a thing in the tattoo industry, when I went to be an apprentice, That's how I would do a lot of my line work, a lot of my drawings I would do on the computer with my tablet.
And this was 15 some years
15,
ago. So that was
15 years ago.
Not the best.
No one was fucking using Photoshop back then.
Right, they're like nerd.
Every single fucking artist that would come near me when I'm there because I would literally bring my computer to the shop, a big ass fucking tower and the whole thing. It was back in the fucking day. I brought it to the shop, made my own little corner, my own little nook, and I just created outlines for everybody. And everybody that would go near me, they loved me, but hated me at the same time.
Yeah,
because they would look at me and tell me, "Oh, that's not real art. You got to draw it by hand. You got to draw it by pencil." Yo, fucking fast forward 10 years.
Yeah,
everybody and their fucking moms on a fucking Procreate.
Where's your pencil now?
Yeah,
you gotta charge it, huh?
Sharpen that shit. It's the same thing every single time. So like, I would start fucking around with some shit fucking early on, thinking it's the most fucking coolest shit ever, and then the industry is like fucking 10 years behind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So watch what's going to end up happening. What's going to end up happening is right now everyone's really mad, and they're like trying to cancel it and put it in back in a box and the whole shit. They're soon going to fucking realize that's never going to happen. Yep. That the cat's already open. The only way that's going to happen is if the internet fucking shuts down completely, which is not going to happen either, unless some fucking catastrophe goes on, which is also likely.
Yeah. But then at that point, tattooing is just not.
At that point, nothing matters. So who gives a shit? It's going to be last of us at that point.
You would give up that easy?
Apocalypse? No, we have no
easy. What the fuck are you talking about?
We have no Wi-Fi. We can't print. I gotta go to. I gotta hand draw.
He thinks he can't tattoo without Wi-Fi. You fucking idiot.
I'm not gonna listen.
My iPad won't work, bro.
He's worried about Wi-Fi.
So it's funny, dude, because it's like when you think about that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, so what's gonna end up happening is we're gonna, everyone's gonna realize it's not going away. And then some popular artist, everybody, fucking follows and copies all the shit they do and all that kind of stuff, starts doing it, and then they all start jumping on board.
Right. Oh,
and before you know it, everybody forgot their argument.
Yeah. Well, this is like what I see when we
I'm already seeing it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's pissing me the fuck off. Because, all you fucking assholes go gun-ho on your fucking high horse.
Well, imagine this. Imagine Danny's our manager here. He does a lot of the initial interactions with clients. I see kind of two ways. Client walks in, they're like, I'd like to get a tattoo. Danny has, the AI up. Mm-hmm. What would you like? This. Locks down a design. Mm-hmm. Hands it to the tattoo artist, is like, tattoo it. So that's one form, right? Another might just be individual with the artist, kind of like how you're saying. Like, we could whip out these consultations, no problem. Mm-hmm. Within 5-10 minutes, have the exact design.
Yep.
Go through the communication. There's no guessing bullshit about what it'll look like. Design the day
and it's unique.
And it's unique. Mm-hmm. And then that's it. Because I know a lot of times with consultations, it's a lot of like, hold on, let me draw that up. And the iPad has made it faster. Kind of like this, and it's usually still a sketch. You're not seeing exactly what it'll look like.
Yeah. Right.
You combine the AI with the Photoshop and placing it right on the body.
They got a good idea.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
The whole thing's done.
Dude, and it's so much fun to like conceptualize things.
Yeah.
Dude, you have instead of sitting on the toilet playing Candy Crush, I'm sitting on the toilet playing with Midjourney.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like literally whatever idea that comes to mind, I'm like, oh, I wonder what that looks like.
And now is that through Discord?
It's all through Discord.
Right.
Right. Which
For those
personally
of
I
you that don't
love
know.
because it's all on your phone.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily need which is really where technology then becomes acceptable within the tattoo industry is when it's really accessible.
Right.
Because I've tried getting folks into 3D modeling and stuff like that, trying to teach them.
Yeah, it's kind of
difficult. It's tough because you kind of need a heavy duty computer.
Right.
Even when it comes to rendering, you need a powerhouse. I spend $10,000 on my computer. Yeah. This is what I do for a living. Yeah. So it's I didn't mind putting in the cash for it, but not every tattoo artist can, and you kind of need at least $2,000 to $3,000 to kind of get started.
So you need at least
but these guys have no problem doing that for Call of Duty.
You got no problem doing Call of Duty. No, not at all. Right. But when it comes to AI and how accessible it is, it makes it life super easy.
Right.
And you can sit there and just fucking plug away.
Right.
And like you said, it's a lot of fun to sit there and conceptualize with clients and literally get the idea done, down packed. Because it's and wait till the day where kind of you're saying, oh, you get it done with the client beforehand. Wait till the day that clients start seeing the accessibility of it. And they start bringing us designs.
They're coming in with it already
designed. Which is cool, but obviously, we're still going to be needed because they don't know how the body flows.
Yeah.
We kind of have that know-how from experience.
Right.
The S shapes in the arms and stuff like that for different things to look better.
Right.
But at least now we have an idea.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because I hate copying shit from that people fucking send. Because usually it's always the same shit. It's you know, if it's a Poseidon, it's always the same Poseidon.
Yeah.
It's the Poseidon that everybody thinks is Poseidon, but it's not Poseidon. It's fucking Zeus. And they just say it's fucking Poseidon.
The side view one. The beard.
Yeah, because that's actually a statue of Zeus, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
But everybody's been calling it. Oh, no, bullshit. All the way around. That's a statue of Poseidon.
Yeah, it is Poseidon. People think
say
it's Zeus. Yeah.
Correct.
And it's like, you know you have Poseidon on you, right?
Right.
That's not Zeus.
Yeah, they send you the picture like, I want this Zeus.
Like,
You're
Zeus
first off, it's
actually
not.
looks like shit. Like the statue of Zeus is stupid. Yeah. The most basic beard, most basic hair.
But if you put a lightning bolt in its hand, Zeus.
Some lightning in the eyes.
Yeah, bro.
Have you ever stumped it? Like put something so fucking wild that the AI was just like,
No.
nothing? Like ninja dolphin.
It'll make it.
It'll make it. You'll have a ninja dolphin,
Korean
Danny.
ninja dolphin.
So the part
Cam's going to go home and he's going to be like, my dad.
well, you know what's funny? What you can do is you can upload a photo of your dad, copy the message link of the photo, type in whatever the fuck you want else to be in it, and it will use that photo as a base.
What if you don't have a photo?
Yeah.
I need to tell you about Allegory's new Ultra Black. This stuff is dark, maybe even darker than my childhood. It is amazing for lining, shading, and even blackouts. And I know a thing or two about blacking out. You got to check this stuff out on allegoryinc.com. Use discount code unemployable for 20% off.
Don't you know, I was so curious to get everybody's thoughts, like on AI and like, you know.
What reactions did you get?
So the majority are super excited.
Yeah.
For the most, because it is exciting. We don't have to rely on the everyday, you know, images. But there were a handful that are super against it.
Obviously.
And when you hear them speak, you know, no offense to any of these artists that, you know, that I spoke to, but when you hear them speak, you can tell that a lot of it's ego. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of insecurity that essentially is coming out through what they're saying.
What if this takes away clients?
And business? I completely understand. But if you don't use whatever tools are available, you will be left behind.
Yeah.
Kind of
those fears will come true.
Those fears will become true. And that's exactly how it works. Because so long as you get ahead of whatever it is, you will not be left behind.
Right.
I mean, you just got to kind of learn to evolve and become liquid enough to be able to kind of like, you know, move with the flow.
Yeah.
You know, wherever it goes. You know, sometimes it may not be where you're most comfortable is, but if you're fluid enough, you'll get comfortable.
Yeah.
It's just
I remember my transition to the iPad. I think I was late in the game, and I was fighting it a lot.
Right.
Just because I didn't want to learn something new.
Yeah.
That's like really what it came down to. And when I obviously made it there, I was like, wow, I've just improved as a tattoo artist just by learning this skill, which at the time seemed like it had nothing to do with tattooing.
Right.
You know, and then you make it work for yourself, and now...
Dude, like when I started 3D modeling, that helped me massively when it came to realism because I understood shadows.
Yeah.
Because as I'm sculpting from a sphere to an object, I can see where the shadows are playing and like what effects I do make that happen.
Right.
You know, kind of thing. And then as I'm tattooing, I can kind of like see it. And then, you know, certain images you kind of play with. And it does help massively with, you know, AI now and stuff like that. Because I can kind of see where mistakes are and then kind of like work accordingly, you know, kind of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially with light source and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. And I think technologies can really help, you know, the artists themselves.
And you'll kind of do a lot of different styles, or you'll stay focused on one? Tattooing wise.
I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of whatever feels right.
Yeah.
Whatever feels good.
For the piece?
For the piece, my favorite's always realism. So like, I'll try to make a look realistic. But it's a lot of fun to fuck around with a lot of different styles.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, so it's like that whole like, oh no, I only do realism or I only do this. It's like, what for?
Right.
Like it's boring.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like I get bored really easily. So it's like I don't stick to the same shit all the time, which sucks for my algorithm. Because my algorithm's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Right.
Like, one day it's this, the next day it's
We're
that.
trying to keep up with you. Yeah.
Right. Like I throw in 3D modeling, I throw in some AI, I throw in some tattoos, I throw in some fucking pictures of my kids.
Yeah.
It's like AI, my algorithm
products.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And how long have you been tattooing?
15 years.
Nice. And did it start in Florida?
Yeah. I started in Florida and I moved to Colorado for like 6 months and the cold got me. I was like, fuck that shit. Like, oh, dude, like it was cool because it was really pretty. Like, dude, I had a gorgeous apartment. Like I had and this was like in 2009 when like Colorado Springs was still fucking dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Like I think I was paying $700 a month for like a 2-bedroom, 1,200 square foot corner unit that oversaw all of Pikes Peak.
Wow.
When it started
700.
snowing, it was the most beautiful thing to just sit there and stare at. Like it was gorgeous, but dude, the cold sucked.
It's so cold.
Like,
stare out and not go out.
Yeah, and that was like early in my career, and the downside was I didn't have a lot of clients.
Yeah.
So, dude, when those winter months came, dude, I don't know how artists do it. I really don't, because it's like, dude, when it starts getting really cold like that, you can't drive, you can't go anywhere. Like, what the fuck you do?
Yeah.
Like we have summer year round, so it's like there's no excuse. You know, you're working December, you're working January, you're working fucking August. It doesn't fucking matter. But it's like when it's that fucking cold and it's snowing that hard.
Depression season.
Yeah, no one's getting tattooed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Everyone's home, fucking loathing around.
But then you look at fucking places like Canada or like fucking Alaska and all these cold ass motherfucking places. It's snowing a lot. And you're like, dude, like you're busy. How?
Because it's cold every day. So you just learn to live with it. The seasonal shit is tough.
Right.
You hibernate.
Yeah, it was cold this morning.
How long were you out there?
Oh, 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. I got there in June. I left in January.
One winter was
breaking this lease.
No, straight up.
$700 a month?
Dude, I looked at my roommate. I was like, keep everything. I'm out.
Yeah.
That's
Fuck this shit.
700 now. It's just an efficiency in Hialeah.
Dude, not even.
Not even.
Not even fucking. No, Hialeah is crazy expensive. The whole reason I moved to Hollywood. Dude, Hialeah pushes out. Pushes out the fuck out, man. And I realized why, though. Hialeah is one of the very few places in the United States you can go to where you don't have to learn the language of the country and get all of the amenities of the country itself. So what's happening is landlords and businesses and stuff like that kind of realize that, and they pigeonhole. And they'll go, all right, you came here to get a better life. You can't go anywhere else. You got to pay what you got.
Bro, drive around Hialeah. You think it's a house, but it's like a dentist.
Because they can't afford both. You know what I mean? So it's a motherfucker, man. Dude, I was born and raised in Hialeah. You mean I didn't want to leave. You know, I did not want to leave. But dude, it's like when COVID happened and all that kind of stuff, my lease was running out at the shop. I was like, I can't stay, dude. It's too much money. Yeah. It's way too expensive. It's not fucking worth it. And but I like Hollywood though. It's a little weird at night, but you know.
A lot of places in Florida are like that.
Did you apprentice in Hialeah area?
No, in Homestead.
Homestead.
Yeah, which was a bitch to do from Hialeah to Homestead every day.
What was your process of getting a mentor?
Oh, dude, it was so random. So everything in my life, for the most part, has been not by choice.
Okay.
Everything in my life has been completely by random. The Photoshop, because I literally asked my dad for a 3D modeling program. He got a Photoshop.
Find out. Yeah.
Which is not 3D modeling.
Yeah.
Figured that out. Then I remember I was originally going to school for video game art and design and AI in Art Institute, and one semester in, I ended up finding tattooing, and the way I found out finding tattooing was completely by random too. I went with a buddy of mine to go watch him get his nipples pierced, and as he was getting his nipples pierced, he decided out of nowhere to get one of my drawings tattooed, which was cool. But at that time, I was already drawing tattoos for friends and stuff like that, so it wasn't like the big one.
Right.
The tattoo artist I was tattooing him was his cousin.
Gotcha.
He didn't really care how it came out.
Right.
He let me do a line on the tattoo.
Nice.
And when I did that line, an on switch came on.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh my God, I can make art permanent. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Because I struggled a lot with like in school, like drawing stuff for people and then seeing it like a week later, like crumbled up in their notebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that made me hate designing for people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they would just not take care of it. But then when I did that line and I made that line permanent on this guy's arm, which was the worst fucking line I've ever done in my entire life, which was hideous.
Yeah.
Fucking
Well, because you didn't have this stuff.
Dude, it was the worst fucking line on the goddamn planet. But
like an oil spill.
Oh, dude, it was so bad. But I was like in my head, it just fixated me on it. Dude, I dropped out of college. I quit my job, everything, dude. And you started doing that shit every day. You started driving back and forth, dude, back and forth every single fucking day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that shit sucked ass, dude, because it's like, that was an 1.5 hour drive going and back.
Yeah.
You know, so I remember I had a brand new Scion. I think I put like 80,000 miles onto that car.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, dude, it was good. I'd murder that poor car.
Yeah, but I've heard that a lot. Like, something getting feet wet in the industry, and it's like instantly knew this is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how my experience was. And I think that's cool.
I think it's for most.
You know, and which almost allows everyone to deal with all the hurdles in the beginning.
Right.
And dude, I haven't thought about this in a long time, and you just brought it up by talking about, you know, designing for people and like crumpling it up. But before, tattooing for me was graffiti. And I would do these pieces on the wall and they'd get buffed.
Right.
And I'd get so mad. I'd be like,
you start getting a grunge against the art itself.
Dude, yeah. I'm like, I spent 3 nights of my life on that fucking highway piece. It should have been up for at least a couple months. Like, you haven't buffed anything in a year, and I do it, and 3 weeks later, the whole white wall is whitewashed, bro.
Yep.
And I'm like, fuck this.
It makes you hate the art.
Yeah, I would go back and just like do nothing, just like fuck you guys.
On it,
Yeah, like cover my shit again. Yeah, and you know, now things have evolved a little bit where I think there's even more permanent ways you can do art, but at the time, like, this will be on someone maybe, you know, 50, 70 years. Like, that's that's a long time.
It's huge. And it's like, and they have to take care of it.
Yeah.
It's their body.
And then like lasers came out and I'm like, fuck you. Stay away.
Oh, dude, I'm like this close to wanting to buy a laser machine. I swear to God. Mostly just so I can play with it, because I just really want to play with it. I just want to zap stuff.
At the new shop, we'll have one if you want to come by and play with it. Yeah.
Imagine if Javi was pulling that first line, had that realization. He's like, oh, I want my nipples pierced.
Let me tell you, fuck that. After watching that shit, I was like, ooh.
So then, dude, you start the apprenticeship. I mean, was it kind of typical old school apprenticeship? Was it a little more modern?
Yeah, pretty old school. Pretty old school. Like, so originally I was supposed to be the apprentice of the owner. Okay. Which ended up not being the case. It started feeling a lot more like he just wanted me there to clean the shop.
Yeah.
Like just basically free labor.
Yeah.
But my actual mentor, I guess, took pity on me.
Nice.
And he started teaching me. He started kind of like, you know, unbeknownst sort of to the owner. Or like the owner just didn't really care.
Yeah.
Like the owner had me selling dogs. You know,
selling what?
Selling dogs. I have a charge. I sort of got, every time I go to do anything, I have to explain a charge that I got when I was an apprentice. Well, this guy got into breeding, into going to buy dogs, like, and not even cool dogs, like fucking pit bulls and Rottweilers. It was poodles and Yorkies. And because I was a do boy,
he saw an opportunity.
100%
in the market.
Yeah, because I was a do boy.
Yeah,
he would basically give me a couple cages to put in the back of my car and just go and post up somewhere.
And sell the dog.
And they would.
Shit.
That was the crazy part. I would sell them for $1,500, like $2,000.
Right up.
Yeah, dude. I'll be there playing with the dog. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
And somebody would come like, oh my God, so cute. I'm like, oh, $2,000.
You're like, actually, I also tattoo on the side.
Right. So, and then I had then it was funny because the cop showed up and gave me adjudication, which was on paper, I got arrested.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And it was an appear to court. And it was funny because I remember I get to my court date. And I was there with my dad, because my dad was like fucking super disappointed. He was like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like,
poodles.
Like first tattooing, now dogs.
What are you doing?
Why didn't you just stay with the Photoshop?
And I remember my dad, I'm there with my dad, and he's there trying to like vouch for me in front of the judge. He's like, Judge, he's a good kid. He's going to college. He's trying, da-da-da. Yeah. You know, that whole fucking thing. So you like, I guess, forgot that I fucking dropped out.
He's going back to college.
He's like trying to pitch it to the fucking judge. And I remember,
we'll give you a poodle.
I remember there was what is it called when it's like their lawyer, like the county's lawyer?
Prosecutor.
Yeah, he was telling me, he's like, dude, you don't have any other charges. We can get this expunged. You just have to do community service and this and that. Me, like an idiot, I looked at the time I was really confident about this idea or this concept, but I was like, no, I need to live with this. I need to learn. Leave it on my record. I need to make sure I get reminded to not get fucked with like this all the time. Which is true. I needed to learn that shit, kind of thing. But because of that decision, every time I fucking do anything, like try to get a fucking new lease or try to do anything, I have to explain that fucking charge. And it is the stupidest thing on the fucking planet because it doesn't say anything on the charge. I have to sit there and explain, dude, I was selling puppies and it wasn't anything crazy. It was Yorkies.
I wasn't selling fighting dogs.
I wasn't selling fighting dogs. It wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't a good story.
It was Yorkies and poodles.
It was Yorkies and poodles. was just so fucking funny, dude.
and
Every time.
So did you learn from leaving it on the record?
Yeah, because soon thereafter, I ended up leaving because I started realizing I was fucking getting abused by this guy. Like basically being completely taken advantage of. And then it helped too that my dad was like, dude, you need to fucking shape up.
Yeah.
And it you know,
so they're
that was
like
a solidifier.
Don't worry, dude. We're going to expunge this off the record. And you're like, no.
Yeah, I looked at it, I was like, no, keep it on. I need to learn a lesson.
And what was your dad? What did your dad say?
Oh, he was blank. He was like, okay.
As you can see, my kid's an idiot. I've been going into like county, like, what are you in for?
Well, one time I went to county for a ticket I never paid for. That was fun. That was fun because there were guys in there for like serious shit, and I was like, should I lie? And I was like, no, I shouldn't lie. No, I didn't pay a ticket.
I told you my jail story like that, right? Javi, I don't think
Say it again.
I'll give you the quick, but it's so. Dude, I kind of did the same thing. Like, kids are idiots, dude.
Right.
Well, whatever. I went in front of the judge. I was on probation. Showed up, failed drug test. They're like, you're going in front of the judge right now. Yo, I begged, and I was like, please don't put me, in jail, because it was like 30, 60 days, whatever.
Yeah.
I guess I reasoned with him, and he's like, I'm considering letting you go home with your parents. I gave him this huge speech. I was like, I'll never be back. If I'm back, I'll put myself in jail, right? So 3 days later, I was back in front of him for failing a drug test again. And like, my parents hired a lawyer, all this stuff. It was like a big deal. My dad showed up. I go in front of the judge somehow, and I'm high as fuck when I'm there. So it's like not helping my case, literally.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
It's like,
I was terrified. And like, my boy's like, here, this will give you confidence. He gave me like 200 milligrams of Adderall and like dude, I was speeding dick. Yeah, I was like vibrating. You could have charged a phone on my back. And somehow my lawyer like got me out. And I remember the judge is like, okay, we're going to try this again. And I look at my lawyer and I'm like, can I say something? And he's like, no. Because I'm like this. And he's like, and I was like, I just want to thank the judge. And he's like, fine. So I stand up like in front of like the tables, like by the judge. I put my hands by my back and I'm like walking with my head up, pretty much giving this speech that like my dad raised me to be a man of my word. And last time I was here, I told you I would send myself to jail, and I will not accept going home with my parents. And you need to send me to jail. My dad just in the background, like, what the fuck, bro? And the judge, like quiets down because everyone's talking. My lawyer's pissed, and he looks at me and he goes, "This is," he goes, "What the fuck did he say?" He said, "This is the greatest display of integrity I've ever seen in my courtroom." And then he sent me to jail, dude.
Yo, what if the judge said no? There's like water there. You're like, how about now?
I'll give you a reason to go to jail. Yeah. Oh man. So you got off that dog selling gig.
Because it was barely an apprenticeship. I mean, for the most part, I was really more used to being a do boy.
Did you stay there and tattoo?
No, I never tattooed. I never tattooed there at all. So it was funny. So I quit there. And I was, at the time, I was trying to do anything I could for money. Because obviously, I mean, you're old school apprenticeship. Yeah. There's no getting paid.
Right.
Type of thing. You're free labor.
How long were you there for?
8 months. I was there, and I really tried. I really wanted to give it a shot.
It's a while,
dude, and everything. I remember one time I got taped to a fucking pole, like with a fucking 40-ounce like attached to my chest. And I remember screaming because I was like, "Dude, cops are passing by! Like, I don't want to fucking get picked up. Right. Get me down!" And it was stupid as shit. So the typical fucking abuse the apprentice kind of apprenticeship.
Learning.
Right.
Character building.
Right. Dog selling.
Which don't get me wrong, I completely understand now because you do essentially have to destroy whatever ego is there.
Yes.
To then give a little bit of humble pie to then be able to build upon. Right. So I completely get it.
Foundation.
Yeah. It is foundation because I do appreciate this so much more.
Right.
Because of the suffering I was.
It's a little abstract.
It's a little abstract, but I get it. I get it. I get it. But I remember at the time I was also creating like flash sets, you know, because this was back in the day when flash set was a weird thing.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And I remember I quit, and I was like, dude, I can't let these flash sets go. You know what I mean? Like I wasted so much time making these like on Photoshop and you know the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
you're like laughing. You don't even fucking know.
No idea what the fuck we're talking about.
You say, I remember Flash.
Yo, because you go online and you could like purchase, and it was like another form of income for artists.
Yeah, like exactly what we were just talking about earlier about like you know you making the design and giving it to the artist to put in the tattoo. It was no different. Right. It was no fucking different. You literally someone would come in. And that was all it was for every single fucking tattoo shop.
Yeah, and
there's barely any custom.
It was totally fine to tattoo that.
Yeah,
and to put it all over your walls, and it's other people's art. And
dude, I remember fucking seeing like what was it? There's one guy I used to love him so much, dude. David Bolt.
Okay.
David Bolt artwork.
I remember the last name.
Oh, dude, I loved like every time I saw one of his tattoos being done like at the shop, I was like, yes! Yeah. Like I love David Bolt's work.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to kind of do flash sets similar to kind of that. And I had like I don't know, I think it was maybe like 10 sheets, like something like that. Like all kind of like horror-ish kind of vibe. And I remember printing out a list of like addresses from like MapQuest and like how to get there from my house and
cool,
you know, like a fucking Bible of MapQuest directions, you know. And like I learned all of Miami right. because of that. And dude, I remember going from shop to shop, being like, "Hey, you know, I have this flash set, you know, $100 you want?" The only 2 shops bought. And I remember the last one, one dude was like, dude, you know, if you have this, if you had it, like, I gave him a story, and he's like, dude, why quit? Like, because I was annoyed, I was frustrated, I wanted to quit. And he was like, don't quit. I forgot what the name of the shop was, and he kind of convinced me. I tried doing the apprenticeship again at another shop. This one guy fucking like sweet talked me into an apprenticeship again. Fucking hated his work. Like, I didn't see his work. He talked a good game. Yeah. I went into work with him the next day, and I saw him do a tattoo. I was like, oh, God, I'm not going to learn shit from you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And it's like, I have eyeballs. Right. I can see.
Right.
And I quit. I was like, no, thank you.
Right away?
Right away. Yeah. Right the fuck away.
I didn't care what kind of dogs
I was not going to pick up any new habits from this shit. And dude, I went and started being a kitchen magician. Yeah, I was like, that's gonna be my own. I felt like my only option. Yeah, bought fucking some garbage ass. I think they were called soft touch coil machines from back in the day. Yeah, yeah, they were pretty soft. Yeah, I think they were named like that because they were really lightweight, and they were compared to a lot of other coils.
Like brass machines. Yeah,
yeah, these were like aluminum and garbage. They're eBay,
right? Plastic.
I mean, it's eBay crap. Dude, I butchered all my friends.
Hell yeah.
My uncles, family members, they still have them.
Yeah,
because I refuse to fucking touch them up or fix them.
Right,
they're antiques. Yeah, they're antiques.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're supposed to look like that.
They're supposed to look that way.
Yeah,
I mean, I was supposed to dot the stencils on for the portraits. Oh man, that beard on a Jesus tattoo literally has the dots of where the beard kind of like just stops.
It's just a shape up. That's all that is.
You got a crispy beard.
Bad. So, dude, I just did the math. You actually tattooed me in 2008.
Yeah?
Yeah, you did this one. A buddy of mine passed away. Like a big-ass group of us went to the tattoo shop in Hialeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you did this
I remember
one.
that.
Yeah. That was what, year 1?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was probably year 1. That was probably year 1.
That's a classic. You have an antique.
I have.
And Danny never once has asked to cover that up.
Never. Right. Not yet.
Because he gets it.
Well, the friend that passed away, yes, I remember that. I think it was a big group.
A bunch of us came.
Oh, that shop was so gross.
Yeah. The fucking like
that was a good horror
fluorescent lights in there was just
the one on the second floor. Yeah. I'm never gonna forget dude, the day I quit that shop was so gross, dude. Oh my God. I remember I walked in, it was a stairwell, and as I'm walking up the stairwell, the lid of the autoclave is on the stairwell. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna be one of those days.
Right.
I continue walking up the stairs. There's the pot of the autoclave. I'm like, cool. I turn the corner to see a front door. There's a mountain of fucking beer bottles and trash right in front of the shop. And cigarette buds everywhere. I open up the door, dude. The motherfucker threw a hell of a party. Beer bottles everywhere.
Checks out. Makes sense.
Dude, it was fucking gross. The setup wasn't broken down. Yeah. Like, it was disgusting. That day, I knew I was quitting.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be, I didn't want to just leave. I wanted to, like, tell him, hey, fuck you, I'm fucking quitting.
Right.
And I remember I packed all my shit and I waited. I waited for him to show up. Anybody that tried coming in, I'm like, no, we're closed. Leave. You know, the whole thing. Didn't bother.
How many years had you been tattooing at that
At that
point?
time, 2.
Okay.
It was only 2 years at the time.
Were you nervous about leaving, finding another job?
No.
Okay.
No, not in that condition.
Right.
At that condition, I'd rather
don't give a shit.
I'd rather just continue tattooing at the house.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case. Because that's, at least my house is a lot cleaner.
Right.
You know? And, dude, when he finally came in, he started bitching me out for not cleaning the shop. I was like, dude, I'm not your fucking bitch.
Yeah.
I'm not your apprentice.
I'm done selling dogs.
Fuck you. Yeah. And I got up and left. And I was like, no, I never heard back. I swear to God, I refuse to name him or the shop, because when you do that, you give them immortality.
Correct.
I prefer them to disappear.
Yeah.
In the vastness of space. You know what I mean? And the easiest way to do that is to never fucking mention their goddamn name.
Into the heaps of beer bottles. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm keeping the poodles.
that was a different shot. Sadly, so it was kind of cool. So when I was tattooing at the house, my mentor, the one who really taught me how to tattoo, he still kept on giving me pointers, even though I was not at the studio and the whole thing. He really kind of like still kept on, because he understood. He understood why I quit and why I got out and the whole thing. Sadly, a year after that, he ended up passing away. Young as shit too. I remember he was younger than I was. Because he started tattooing when he was like 13. Like super. Bernardo Sedna was his name. He used to go by Essay. Dude, it was so crazy, man. He was 19 when he passed away. I was 20. And dude, when that happened, I was like, fuck. Like, oh, I didn't feel real. Yeah. Like, all that shit hit like a brick. Old. Oh, dude, and it's like the whole family, everything. I still keep in touch with everybody. I see the family every now and then, like in conventions, because the brother Joe, he kept the studio, and he learned how to tattoo.
Nice.
And he kind of kept the name going and stuff. Yeah. It was just super sweet.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, dude, and it's like it's so cool, like kind of like running into him again.
Yeah,
it's kind of like memories come crashing back, and the good ones too. Like it's never like sad.
Yeah,
which is awesome. Yeah, so it's like, you take the good and the bad with the industry.
Yeah. I mean, there's always the hurdles. I feel like really everyone's got their like beginning stories, and coming up.
You can make a book out of everybody's story.
Yeah, 100%. And then you have your own shop now. Right. Mm-hmm. And how was opening that, and when did you do that?
I think I opened that 10 years ago or 11 years ago now. 2011 was when I opened it. Because every shop I started working at, I hated the vibe. I hated it was your typical street shop. And I couldn't stand it, because I like my music. I like my vibe, kind of thing. And they just, every shop I went to, they just didn't have that feeling.
Right.
And then, come to find out that it's not that expensive to open up your own studio.
Right.
And I was about to buy a house. I remember, and dude, it's kind of funny, because I look back, and like the market at the time was when it just crashed. Dude, if I would have bought a house, it would have been awesome. But I don't regret it. I got my studio, the whole experience. And it was funny, because I remember I had, I think it was like 15 grand saved up, like for the down payment.
Yeah.
And I took that and like went to go open up my own studio. And it was kind of funny, because I was booked, I think it was like a month in advance at the house, like tattooing at home.
Yeah.
And at that point I was like, well, I know I can pay rent.
Right.
And being a month booked. So I felt comfortable. And it was cool, because then once I started, then I started getting booked even more, because now I can actually say that I'm here tattooing and I'm available. And it just kind of like, it's been nice and coasting with that ever since.
Yeah.
I tried the whole, like, having a bunch of artists and stuff like that, but I'm not that good of a businessman.
Right.
When it comes to like the shop itself. So I always just kind of keep it as a private studio.
And that's what it is today.
Yeah. Like I keep the doors locked. Like it says like appointments only type of thing.
Yeah. It's in Hollywood?
It's in Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually a prime spot if I didn't want to make a walk-in shop, but I just don't want to.
Yeah.
I kind of like the quiet.
I get that. Yeah. Whatever works, though. Yeah. I think that's really what it comes down to. And especially if you're not able to find the vibe, why wouldn't you go out and create it?
Yeah, you make it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Right.
And it's awesome, because it's like I walk in whenever I want to, or leave whenever I want. Like right now, I have I'm tattooing in the front, because I literally just set up my booth right now to do a time lapse of doing a puzzle with my family.
Gotcha.
So it's like whenever I pick up the kids, I go to the shop for a little bit, and we do the puzzle a little more.
Yeah, that's cool. And how many days a week are you tattooing?
Oh, I schedule 7 days. Because
Okay.
the downside nowadays with COVID, it's like it's the perfect excuse.
Yeah.
And it's still the perfect excuse, even though it's been so many years. So because of that, it still doesn't feel safe to kind of like really have a day off.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because it's like there's been so many times where like I'll have a day off and then people cancel. and they use the COVID excuse, which it's hard to say if it's an excuse or not because you can't challenge that. It's like saying they have diarrhea.
Yeah.
I can't prove that. I'm not going to go to your house and fucking stick some shit up your nose.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I mean, we're just going to fucking reschedule.
And what does it look like? What's the process of booking with you? Like, what do you charge? Do you have kind of like, you know, booking policies, or what's the wait time?
The wait time is typically about 6 months, give or take.
Right.
I try not to do too much more. I recommend for everyone to not do more.
It's hard to live.
Yeah, because you can't plan shit, that
Anything.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can't live. It's
Yeah.
essentially what happens. Any changes you want to make, you got to wait a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't ever recommend people to be more booked than that, or whatever's more comfortable for everybody. But yeah, usually about 6 months. It's all done through the website, you know, for the most part. All my pricing, wait time, deposit, everything is all written out. If it's 1 day session only, it's $2,500 with $1,000 deposit, and if it's multiple sessions, it brings it down to $2,000 for the day.
Yeah.
And then with a $2,000 deposit. And it was funny because before I used to do by the hour, but ever since I quit smoking cigarettes, it's
Yeah,
work.
yeah. It's funny you said that. I could relate.
Yeah, dude. So it's like, it's kind of one of those kind of things where hourly just doesn't really quite fit the bill. And usually what was happening before with hourly, which was really interesting, is that people would tap way sooner than they really could.
Yeah.
Because there was no financial obligation.
Right.
And when it's
No
happening
incentive.
there,
Yeah.
right, what ends up happening there, you end up having to book significantly more appointments, which
becomes more
backs you
expensive.
way more up.
Yeah.
And you're actually not making a lot more money because
Right.
you're only tattooing for X amount of hours versus a set price for the day.
Right. All right. Cam, take us out. Thank our guest.
No, let the AI take us out.
Yeah.
Beep boop beep.
Zeros and ones, zeros and ones.
Right.
Insert subtitles there, Danny. Thank you guys for joining us on today's episode. Thanks again for Hobby for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks so much
Yeah.
for coming out,
Appreciate
dude.
it.
Yeah, I had a really fun time today. Thought today did some good topics.
Formative.
Super informative episode.
That's the idea. Always stay informed.
Yeah, I cannot wait for AI to replace Cam.
Yeah. I can't wait to just. I
Sooner than
can't.
you think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just go to the beach with Steve. What's his name?
Oh, that's Steve?
No,
The Steve?
the science guy. I'll be at the beach with him.
Neil deGrasse. Why the fuck did you get Steve? Modern day Bill Nye.
I just want to go to the beach.